Welcome to Storytime. Get ready, navigate for quick wisdom of countless stories. Let's dive into the world of knowledge together and explore. Once upon a time, in a cozy little kitchen that smelled of cinnamon and sugar, there lived an old woman and her husband. They were a sweet old couple, with wrinkly faces that always seemed to be smiling, especially when they were baking. The old woman loved to bake more than anything in the world, and her husband loved to eat whatever she baked, so it was a match made in heaven. One chilly afternoon, as the wind howled outside, the old woman decided to make something special. "I think I'll bake a gingerbread man today," she said to herself, her eyes twinkling with excitement. She mixed the flour, sugar, and spices together, humming a little tune as she worked. She added a pinch of this and a dash of that, and before long, she had a perfect ball of gingerbread dough. The old woman rolled out the dough and carefully cut it into the shape of a little man. She gave him raisin eyes, a smiling mouth made of icing, and 3 shiny buttons down his chest. He looked so cheerful lying there on the baking sheet that she couldn't help but smile. "You're going to be delicious," she said, popping him into the oven. As the gingerbread man baked, the warm, sweet smell filled the kitchen, making the old woman's mouth water. She peeked through the oven window, watching as he turned a beautiful golden brown. When he was just right, she opened the oven door to take him out. But to her surprise, as soon as she opened the door, the gingerbread man jumped up from the baking sheet. He hopped right onto the kitchen floor, landing on his tiny gingerbread feet. The old woman gasped, her eyes wide with shock. She had baked many things in her life, but never had any of them jumped up and started running around. Before she could say a word, the gingerbread man looked up at her with his raisin eyes and said in a high, squeaky voice, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." And with that, he dashed out of the kitchen and out the front door, faster than the old woman could blink. "Oh my goodness!" she cried, grabbing her apron and rushing after him. "Come back here, you little rascal." But the gingerbread man was already halfway down the garden path, his tiny legs moving so fast they were almost a blur. The old woman huffed and puffed as she tried to catch up, but the gingerbread man just kept running, laughing as he went. He ran past the old man, who was sitting on the porch enjoying a cup of tea. The old man nearly spilled his tea when he saw the gingerbread man zooming by. "What on earth?" he started, but before he could finish, the gingerbread man shouted over his shoulder, "Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The old man jumped up and joined his wife in chasing after the little cookie. They ran through the garden, past the flowers and the vegetable patch. But no matter how fast they ran, they couldn't catch the gingerbread man. The gingerbread man was feeling pretty pleased with himself as he raced down the road. He was faster than anyone he had ever met. But as he ran, he came across a cow grazing in a field. The cow looked up, surprised to see a little man made of gingerbread running by. "Moo, what's the hurry?" the cow asked, chewing her cud slowly. The gingerbread man didn't even slow down. He just waved and called out, "I've outrun an old woman and an old man, and I can outrun you too. Run, run as fast as you can. You can't catch me, I'm the gingerbread man." The cow, curious and hungry, decided to join the chase. She lumbered after the gingerbread man, but he was too quick for her. The gingerbread man laughed as he looked back at the cow struggling to keep up. "Too slow," he shouted, feeling more confident than ever. The gingerbread man kept running, faster and faster, until he reached a river. The river was wide and deep, and the gingerbread man stopped short. He wasn't sure how he was going to cross it. Just as he was wondering what to do, a sly fox appeared from behind a bush. The fox was clever, with bright, cunning eyes and a bushy tail that flicked back and forth. He had seen the gingerbread man running down the road and thought to himself, "That would make a tasty snack." But the fox didn't let on that he was thinking about dinner. Instead, he smiled kindly and said, "Hello there, little gingerbread man. You look like you're in a bit of a pickle. Do you need help crossing the river?" The gingerbread man, who was feeling pretty proud of himself after outrunning the old woman, the old man, and the cow, thought the fox seemed like a nice fellow. "Well, yes," he said, "I do need to get across, but I can't swim." "No problem at all," the fox replied smoothly. "Just hop on my tail, and I'll carry you across." The gingerbread man hesitated for a moment but then thought, what harm could it do? So, he jumped onto the fox's bushy tail, and the fox started to swim across the river. As they reached the middle of the river, the fox said, "Oh dear, the water is getting deeper. You'd better climb onto my back so you don't get wet." The gingerbread man didn't want to get soggy, so he quickly scrambled onto the fox's back. The fox kept swimming, his eyes gleaming with mischief. As they got closer to the other side of the river, the fox said, "Oh no, the water's even deeper here. You'd better climb onto my head." The gingerbread man was starting to feel a little uneasy, but he didn't have much choice. So, he climbed onto the fox's head, clinging to his ears for balance. They were almost to the riverbank when the fox gave a little shake. "Oops," he said, "I'm losing my balance. You'd better hop onto my nose, just to be safe." Now, the gingerbread man was definitely nervous, but he wanted to get across the river, so he gingerly stepped onto the fox's nose. And that was when the fox did exactly what you might expect a clever, hungry fox to do. He tossed his head back, opened his mouth wide, and snap! The gingerbread man was gone, swallowed in one big gulp. The fox licked his lips, feeling very satisfied with himself. That was delicious," he said, smirking as he climbed out of the river and trotted off into the woods, his belly full of gingerbread. Meanwhile, back on the other side of the river, the old woman, the old man, and the cow arrived just in time to see the fox disappearing into the trees. They stared in shock, realizing they had been outsmarted by a sneaky fox. The old woman sighed, shaking her head. "Well, I suppose that's the way the cookie crumbles," she said, though she couldn't help but feel a little sad. After all, she had put a lot of love into baking that gingerbread man. The old man patted her on the back. "Don't worry, dear," he said kindly. "Tomorrow, we can bake another one. And this time, maybe we'll just eat him before he has a chance to run away." The cow, who had finally caught up, just mooed in agreement. She wasn't too disappointed, though. After all, she hadn't really expected to catch the gingerbread man. She wandered back to her field, ready to return to her peaceful grazing. And so, life went back to normal for the old couple. The kitchen was once again filled with the warm, comforting smell of freshly baked treats, and the old woman learned a valuable lesson. Sometimes, it's better to keep a close eye on your gingerbread. As for the fox, well, he was the happiest of all. He had a full belly and a clever grin on his face as he trotted off to find his next adventure. And the gingerbread man? Let's just say he became a legend in the little village. A story the old woman would tell every time she baked, always with a twinkle in her eye and a smile on her face. And that, dear readers, is the story of the gingerbread man. So the next time you bite into a gingerbread cookie, just remember, if it starts to run, you'd better run faster. Thanks for tuning in. For more enlightening content and a detailed summary, visit www.mybooksummary.com. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Let's inspire and empower each other. Subscribe to our channel and share our videos with your